All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another trade recap video here. In this video, I want to just real briefly, again, if you heard, my previous video, which I suggest you do if you haven't watched my previous videos, definitely do so. I said that I'm going to try and start getting a little bit more quicker and brief with my videos here. Don't want to get too in-depth here, but I'm going to get a little bit more in-depth in this video than I did on the previous one. I try to change it up a little, make some real quick, a little bit more in-depth on some. Trying to balance things out here a little. So the trade that I want to go over specifically in this video is a little Baba trade that I did. There wasn't really much that went into it. I literally, like I said, the interesting thing about this trade is that I literally made the profit while I was walking my dog. I placed the trade, went to walk my dog, come back, and, had a nice profit, so I took it. So anyways, it was more towards the end of the day. I initially got in the trade expecting that I might have to take it overnight and expect the move to maybe happen overnight or like throughout the next morning. But obviously the move made it, it made its move during the day within like 30 minutes. So like I always say, no one ever went broke taking profits. Don't get greedy, take your profits. So that's exactly what I did. So nothing too crazy. It's a little $500 profit here. Let me just show you guys for the sake of it real briefly here. Nice little, wait a minute. No, this is NVIDIA. This is a little $600 profit. That was the morning trade that I did. That's not the point here. The Baba one right here, $520 on this one. Again, nothing too wild. Of course, when you add them all together, like I always say, these profits add up slowly but surely. Don't, beat yourself up over the fact that, oh, I'm not making that much money. I'm not making this much money. If you let things work out and you put it into the proper perspective, you'll be fine. It's the people that don't make money trading that would give you a hard time about making small profits anyways. Because I don't know, what is it? In 1 year, there's, 250 trading days, let's just say. I'm pretty sure it's 250. I'm trying to think real quick. 252 or 250. Let's just say there's 250 trading days in a year. Because I'm not going to try and be biased here and say, oh yeah, you trade every single day of the year. There's 360, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not. I'm a very fair person. So let's say there's 250 trading days in the year. If you just make $100 a day, on average, I'm trying to say, obviously you might lose some here and there. The key to this is to not, you have to plan your trades properly. The way I go about my trades is every single trade, everything I do in life pretty much, but mainly every trade here, I look at risk. I don't care how much I can make. I look at how much I will lose if I am wrong. That's why I keep my trades within like relative, price ranges, is because of the losses that I'm willing to accept. Of course, I can expand and slowly get bigger and bigger, which I have been. If you've been following me for a while, you'll notice like way back, 3-4 years ago, I was doing, 5 contracts, then slowly got to 10, and now I'm all the way up to like 20. Like now I really won't go lower than 10 contracts unless like it's a Friday or, I'm going just extremely light size on the trade. But like I'm slowly making my way up to like 20 contracts slowly. You have to slowly work your way up because it's all an emotional game. I always tell people that if I were to write a book about trading, and I say this as a joke, of course, but it's kind of serious. If I were to write a book about trading, it would be 100 chapters, and 1 through 11 would be strategical. 12 through 100 would just say discipline, master your emotions. Because really, that's what it comes down to. You have to have a plan. So, for example, on this Baba trade, I told myself I knew it wasn't going to get above the 160. And if it did, then I'd take the loss on the trade, which would have been a small loss. It wouldn't have been more than like $100 or $200 on the loss. You have to have the emotional discipline to respect that plan. Because if I don't, then it can turn into like, an extremely bigger loss, like $2,000 loss, for example. That's how you lose when it comes to trading. You let your losses be bigger than your gains. You have to have that emotional discipline. So as long as you're, disciplined and consistent in your trades and your, emotions, then you'll be fine. So imagine you make on average $100 a day. You're making $25,000 a year. Okay, let's bump it up. Say you're making $200 a day. That's $50,000 a year. That's a lot of money. That's more money than my mom raised me and my brother on. She literally didn't make more than like $30,000, something around $30,000 a year. She worked for the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. And she somehow managed to pay all the bills and everything and, take care of me and my brother. And so, I'm not trying to like get into my whole life story here. But I'm just trying to put it into perspective. That's a lot of money. Now, I don't know what kind of roots you come from. I guess it's all perspective. It's all how you look at life. Maybe your parents make millions of dollars. So maybe like, if they make $50,000 a month, you're like, what, dude? Like, that's nothing. I don't know. It depends on where you're coming from. Everybody sees life differently. But that's a lot of money. And that's just making $200 a day. So double that. Now you're making $400 a day, which is easily doable. You guys that follow me, you see me, I post my screenshots on Instagram pretty much every single day. The only times I don't is when I try and force myself to make YouTube videos, so I have an excuse to make a video. Because sometimes I'll say, I posted the trade on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. So now I try not to post them there to try and make myself post, YouTube videos. But I've been doing it for like 2 years straight, you guys. You can see it's easy to make over $500 a day on average. Obviously, you're going to lose some days, blah, blah, blah. You guys see me. I'll make a $600 profit one morning. I'll make a $2,000 profit one morning. Maybe I'll make a $300 profit one morning, if I'm doing a really small trade. But on average, you guys can see I can averagely make about $1,000 a day. And that's not bragging. There's people out there that make way more than me. I started from a point where I was just trying to make $50 a day. I've come a long way. Also, I didn't have anyone to teach me, so I had to teach myself. So I had a lot of years in the trial and error stages. But what I'm trying to say is, like, once I got consistent, I was shooting for 50 a day, then 100 a day. I was working my way up. Now I'm at, like, on average, 1,000 a day. Like, for example, today I made about 1,100. Put the NVIDIA trade and the Baba trade together. About 1,100, something around those lines. Maybe 1,200. I don't know. So you have to work your way up slowly. The way I look at every trade is by the risk. So if I'm willing to risk like, $200 here, sure, I can, multiply my trade to where, okay, if I made 500 while I was risking 200, which it wasn't 200. I was like risking maybe like 150, to be honest with you. If I was wrong, I would have lost like 150, if that. But, let's just say, if I'm risking $200 to make 500, that means I could easily risk 2,000 to make 5,000, yes. But the emotions, it doesn't work well when you just jump like that. You have to slowly go because, it could get close to this area. It might not even get to that area. It could get to like, 159.85. And I'll say if I would get out if it went above 160. But if it gets to 159.85, I might panic. I'm like, oh my God, I'm at a $1,500 loss. I don't want to see this get any worse. I'm almost certain that I'm going to be wrong anyways. And then I get out. I take that $1,500 loss, and then the trade would have worked for me. And then that becomes a habit. So now I'm losing more than I'm winning more often. And then I'm losing more dollar-wise too, because then I start getting emotional. It's like it's a large downfall. This is why most traders lose. Because they can't get a grasp of consistency and discipline and proper risk management. So go at your own pace. If anybody tries to say, oh, you're only making 200 a day. Oh, you're only making there's people that try to tell me, oh, you're only making 1,000 a day. Oh my God. Like, I just wonder what roots you come from that 1,000 a day is nothing to you. That's a lot of money, guys, especially to me, especially to what I come from. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm happy with the life I live. Because my main reason for going after trading was so I didn't have to work. So I didn't have to work for somebody to go and report to somebody, to have hours. I wanted the freedom. Sure, I could have more money. I could go out and hustle and start 5 more businesses. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I've found my happy medium. I make money trading. I'm consistently growing. My expenses aren't crazy. All my cars are paid off. I don't have car payments. I live on my own. I don't have like crazy bills. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, live within your means. The money, I make more than I spend. I make significantly more than I spend. And I'm always continuously reinvesting my profits, my income, into real estate. I have multiple properties that basically pay me monthly, that basically pay for my expenses. Now, sure, I could go and, I could be a realtor. I can knock on doors and hustle like that too and make a ton more money than I am now. I can go get a 9-to-5 job even. I can go get a sales job. I can go work at a car dealership and sell cars and make more money that way. But there's no balance. I like the freedom I have. So don't worry about it, guys. Just enjoy your life and go at your own pace. Don't worry about who makes more money than who. Just, that's also why people lose. They worry about, oh my God, this guy's making this much money. No, don't worry about what that guy's making. You don't know what his risk tolerance is. You don't know what's going on in his mind. Just go at your own pace. So back to like my whole equation that I was giving here. Let's say you're going, I don't know, we were at $200 a day. You're making $50,000 a year. So you go to $400 a day now. Now you're making $100,000 a year for just $400 a day. That's $100,000 a year. If you're making $500 a day, I don't know, that's too close, but it's like $125,000 a year. If you're making $1,000 a day, that's $250,000 a year. $2,000 a day, that's $500,000 a year. $500,000. And trust me, guys, there's people out there that can make more. It is doable. Just go at it slowly, approach it properly. Because you don't want to make a consistent amount of money. You don't want to make $1,000 a day, $1,000 a day, and you do that for 10 days in a row, and then you get all cocky and go wild out on a trade, and then that happens to be the trade you lose, and you lose $10,000 now. All your gains wiped out by one trade. Don't do that. Slow and steady wins the race, guys. Just remember that. So, anyways, went on a little bit of a rant there. Not a rant, just, it's good explanation, good knowledge for you guys. Those people that don't know how to approach the stock market, now you guys know how you should approach it. So now let me get into a little bit more of the explanation here on the trade. There wasn't an alert on this trade or anything like that. It was really like right in, let me see what time it was specifically. I have it, I was looking at it here. The simplicity of it too. It was just one order. Boom. In at 11:51, out at 12:22. So literally like 30 minutes and like 10 seconds, literally. So 30-minute trade. I got 10 contracts at 137 each. So you guys know the deal. One contract is equivalent to 100. So one contract would be 137. So since I had 10 contracts, 137 times 10 is 1,370. So this trade required 1,370. No, I'm not risking 1,370. I got in at 11:51. That's right here around this area. That's where I got in at. And if it went above 160, I would have gotten out. So no, I wasn't risking 1,003. I was risking a couple hundred at most. At most. So I place the trade. I go and I take my dog for a walk. I come back, I check, and I'm like, oh, we're making more money. Beautiful. Go ahead and take it. I was even planning on possibly even taking it overnight if it didn't make its move. Because like I say, if you hear my other videos, sometimes they just chop throughout the day. So I wasn't necessarily expecting it to make the move, but I figured it could. So that's why I got in it at that point. And if I needed to hold it overnight, as long as it stayed below the 160 and, blah, 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 blah. You guys get that point. But I had my profit, so I didn't. If I did take it overnight, I probably would have woken up to a lot more profit in the morning. But you don't worry about that kind of stuff. You just take your profits and be happy with it. Don't get greedy. Don't say, oh, last time if I held it longer, blah, 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 blah. Because no, sometimes you'll hold it longer and it can reverse on you. So anyways, just showing you guys how the options work here again. So 10 contracts, 1,370. Let's just call it 1,400 just for the sake of it. So like my little used car example. It's like you bought a used car. Let's say you bought an older Honda Civic, a 1990s Honda Civic for $1,400 at 11:51. 30 minutes later, you went and you flipped the car. You found somebody to buy it for $1,900, let's just say. $189. Just for the sake of, keeping numbers easy, we'll call it 190. You guys know the deal. 10 times 190, 1,900. So 1,400 to 1,900, there's your $500 profit. So I got out of the trade at 12:22. which is right here. So no, I didn't get the very, very bottom. I could have gotten a little bit more out of it, but who cares? You see what I'm saying, guys? You take your profits. And that was pretty much the move that I caught on it right there. 30 minutes. And again, I guess this just goes to show you guys you can make money in different kinds of ways. You don't have to be there trading every single morning. Maybe you have a full-time job. You don't even have to be trading on a daily basis. You can let a trade sit. I had some of my students that were trading this from Friday in the chat room. They were basically saying like, hey, you know, thanks. Like I held it overnight. They got in here. They had puts. Puts means you make money when the stock goes down. Stock opened up down here. They made money. So you could have gotten in on Friday, held it over, checked on Monday, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not trying to get too much into this here. And like I said, I'm trying to keep these videos short and sweet. And I feel like I'm already going and rambling off way too much. So anyways, that's pretty much that here on this, guys. Nothing too crazy. A little $500 profit with less than, you know, $1,400 invested in it. And that's really all that goes into it. So I'm going to wrap it up here just because I know myself. I can keep going. Trust me. But I'll end up having like an hour-long video. And I try to keep things short and sweet for you guys. You know, the long videos that explain everything, that's where like the courses come into play and everything. I'm not trying to bore you guys here either. So anyways, that's pretty much that. Now, one more idea before I'm telling you guys, if you don't let me go, I'm going to ramble. I'm going to ramble. Anyways, one reason why I don't mainly point out like why I got into the trade or things like that is because I don't want anyone to try and assume that I'm trading off of one strategy, because that's not how it goes. It's not like there's one magical thing that we see that we decide to get into the trade. No, it's an understanding of the market that you have to have. So if I say, oh yeah, you know, I got in the trade because it did this, then people are going to start assuming that, oh yeah, this guy just trades because this line is here and that line is there and this guy turned upside down and there was this head and shoulders and this knees and toes and all this kind of nonsense, which I don't do that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm not really a fan of that stuff. So that's why I don't want anyone to, like, I'm not trying to mislead anyone here either. So if I were to go into depth explaining, like, everything I saw, then we'd be here for hours. And that's, like, why, like, the work at your own pace video lesson course that I have, which is pretty much the alternative to the mentorship course, you know, for people that don't have the time to be there for 60 days or they just want to learn right away. There's a reason why it's 12 hours long and it's divided into 70 lessons, because there's a lot you need to learn. It's not just one magical, oh, I have these 3 magic patterns and then you can tie them all to a kite and you start running and I don't know. I'm just, you know, anyways, you have to, it's an understanding of the stock market. It's like if you want to be a doctor, you can't just know how to cut into the body. You have to understand how the body works. You have to understand that blood is being pumped. It goes through like the veins and the blood vessels and all this kind of stuff. So you have to understand, because you might cut into the wrong part and just think, oh, okay, he's bleeding. Let it just bleed out and keep bleeding because it's going to generate more. And little do you know that, no, he's going to die because you don't understand how the body works. All you understood was, yeah, I take the scalpel and I can cut into the body. And that's the problem with trading. Most people think, oh yeah, the scalpel, cut into the body, and then they let their account bleed because they didn't learn the understanding of the market. They just learned this line here and that line there, and that's it. Or they learn one little pattern here, or that's it. So, anyways, there's a lot more that goes into this stuff, guys. I'm hoping that this stuff can at least introduce you guys to the basics, show you guys how the options works, show you how you can make money with smaller amounts, because people think you need like $25,000 to trade and all that, which is not true. So anyways, now I'm really wrapping it up here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know the deal. Follow me on Instagram at BijanTrades, Twitter at who'sBijanT, and then the website, of course, which can probably answer a lot of you guys' questions, BijanTrades.com. And yeah, just have a great rest of you guys. I don't know, it's nighttime right now. Just have a great life, my friends. Just have a great life. Yeah, I like that actually. Have a great life. Take care, my friends.